I am not exaggerating when I say it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. Getting out regularly was great, and having that external commitment, because sometimes in small business, you are the master of your own destiny, and it's really easy to procrastinate and put off and reschedule and avoid your deadlines and the stuff that you don't want to do because there's no one else to answer to, which is wrong because in my belief system, we answer to God. So, but you can get away with justifying it and procrastinating and doing all those things, which is something that I love to do. And so it was great to have that external commitment.
You're listening to Fussy Cutters Club podcast, a show that gives you permission to cut into the good fabric so you can make quilts you love. And now your host, who believes it's not a crime to love using novelty fabrics, Ange Wilson.
Hello, Fussy Cutters. Well, welcome back from a very long, unexpected break. I hope that this finds you enjoying some fabric, that life is going well, and that you've had a restorative break over the end of 2004 and the beginning of 2005. For me here in the Fussy Cutter studio, things have taken a massive change from here, and I thought I'd fill you in on a little bit of that and helpfully explain why the delay, but it's a pretty big thing for us. I started the business when our son was a wee babe and I was on maternity leave, and it was really a way to keep my sanity during those times. I was struggling with a really severe case of postnatal anxiety and depression, and I found that the creative outlet of quilting and having something else to focus on really helped balance that out, and it allowed me to be home with our son when at the time I physically couldn't be apart from him, and it really helped me keep a I want to say a grasp on reality, but that's probably a little bit too much. It helped keep me grounded during that time, and the business was a great distraction. But I will confess to you now, I am a great creative and a not so great business person, and so it has been 10, 11 plus years of really struggling with ups and downs, feelings of inadequacy and hopelessness and lack of control, and just I don't do well with financials and managing stuff like that. And so the business was a massive leap for me. And there's been times when I've done it really well, and there's been times when I've really struggled and made decisions that reflected that naivety. Anyway, long story short, the business is great. I am still doing patterns, but we have made the decision to close out the fabric aspect. We're going to do bespoke one-off custom bundles every now and again when I just love a collection, and I think others will love it too, and I want to share that collection, but generally the fabric will be gone. And so we're closing it out. So if you're looking for a bargain, bit of a plug here, you can get it at the moment. Any continuous cut of a metre or more, which is bigger than a yard, is 60% off, and it's automatically applied at the discount at the checkout. So no code needed. Just go shopping, have some fun. So with the decision to close out the business and our son moving to high school, I made the call to go back to work. And 10 years of being the only person in the office, working from home, not seeing anybody else, really helped contribute to my anti-socialism and, well, that's funny, my anti-social tendencies. Anti-socialism is something completely different. And I found I really isolated myself, and it's been great in the last 2 years. We've moved from Canberra back up to Townsville, and, we share a property with my parents who live in one house and we live in the other. And my aunt is here, and we've got a really good church community here as well. And so it's helped me get out of my shell a bit more, and I've realized just how isolated I had made myself. And in turn, my husband and I had really isolated ourselves in Canberra. We had great friendships, and I really miss having Rayleigh and her family so close by. But we had really cut ourselves off, and it really played into those mental health issues that I was having. By being so isolated, it helped me deal with that side of things. So, and it probably compounded them a little bit more too, because it was really easy for me to do what I needed to stay away from people. And that's not good. That's not healthy. We are created to need each other and work as a community. And so I really struggled breaking that cycle and that tendency. She says as she talks to herself alone in a studio. But you're real, right? You exist. So I had some spare time on my hands, and my mum and dad have both now retired. And so my mum was sort of at a loose end as well. And we made a decision after hearing someone come and speak at our church, a local organisation, which I'm sure you've heard of, and I'm sure there's one near you, Meals on Wheels, which is run, the chapter here in Townsville was started by St Andrew's Presbyterian Church, which is part of our church group, and they needed drivers, delivery drivers and delivery people. And so I heard Alison speak at that church service, and I took a flyer, and I was like, I don't know whether this is really for me. In concept, it sounds great, but the reality of it might be something completely different. But anyway, we took the leap, and I spoke to my mum about it, and we both agreed that we would volunteer and work together. And so we volunteered to do 1 day a week. We became delivery people for St Andrew's Meals on Wheels here in Townsville. And I am not exaggerating when I say it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. Getting out regularly was great, and having that external commitment, because sometimes in small business, you are the master of your own destiny, and it's really easy to procrastinate and put off and reschedule and avoid your deadlines and the stuff that you don't want to do because there's no one else to answer to, which is wrong because in my belief system, we answer to God. So, but you can get away with justifying it and procrastinating and doing all those things, which is something that I love to do. And so it was great to have that external commitment. I had a very set idea of what I thought Meals on Wheels would be like, and it completely blew that preconception away. I expected it to be predominantly elderly people. I expected it to be really sad. And I'm not going to lie, there are aspects of it that were really sad. But it was a mixture of different age groups, a mixture of people in different aspects of their lives, different circumstances. There was not a single person that I met while volunteering that wasn't grateful and thankful and just, I don't even know how to describe it. There was this electricity to the connections that you were making there. Like it was mundane every day. You're delivering a meal, you're saying hello, asking them how their day was. But there was something invigorating about having that connection with those people. And so Mum and I volunteered for a few months delivering on a Friday. We had our Run 12 people who I miss now. And anyway, we were in there one day waiting for our run to start. And I had been going through a selection process with a government department and was in the final stages of getting all of that sorted to start in December. And I was apprehensive about going back into a government job, which is what I did for 20 plus years. I really loved being a public servant, which I know sounds really weird and heaps of people are like, what? But I did. I really loved that aspect of working for the government. I believe in government structure and helping the public through social services. And so I really relished that work. And so I was nervous and apprehensive and excited and keen to get started and get back into that 9 to 5 full-on job. And then at the very last minute, with a week to go, I turned down other jobs. I had restructured the business. I had prepped everyone in our house for me going back to work full time. All of those things that you do to prepare, they deferred the selection. And so I was without a job and was a little bit annoyed and was questioning my decisions in turning down jobs and things like that. And so I was at Meals on Wheels, waiting for my run to start, and I overheard the manager of Meals on Wheels talking to, turns out to be her sister, but another volunteer, and her sister had asked her whether she'd found someone to replace one of their admin staff who was going out on mat leave, maternity leave. She was off to have a baby. And I was like, I couldn't contain my excitement. I was like, I need a job. I can do admin. And she was like, okay. And we organised, and I came in to do a job interview, and she was like, yeah, I think it'll be good. How can you start on Monday? And I was like, it was Friday. I was like, yes, I will be here. And I was only supposed to go in for 3 days a week, which was great because I thought, oh, well, I could balance the business with working. And I have not done 3 days a week since I started. So now I am working Monday to Friday. I work a full day, but I'm out of there by the afternoon. And it is hands down one of the best jobs I've ever had. I do it justice, the feeling of knowing that you're going to work and the work that you are doing is having a direct impact on making other people's lives easier and helping people to stay in their own homes for longer, being a point of social contact for a lot of people. I hadn't realised, and this is what I was saying, there were aspects of it that were really sad, that for some people, the only social contact they have is that Meals on Wheels delivery once a day. And it's not a long interaction. It's a couple of minutes because you've got other people to deliver to and the food has to go out within a certain time frame. And it was really heartbreaking. Like, it was just to think that someone can contribute their whole lives to a society and, you know, in a lot of cases have families and loved ones, like partners, and still end up alone, relying on the generosity of strangers to volunteer their time and come and connect with them. And so that side's really sad. But on the flip side, those volunteers, some of those volunteers have been doing it for years and years and years. They have relationships with the people that they deliver to. A lot of our volunteers see their recipients of their deliveries. You know, they'll visit them when they're in hospital. They'll drop extra stuff around to them if they need it. At Christmas time, you know, they did a lot of hampers and deliveries like that. And so there's this beautiful aspect of humanity where we get to see that community reflected in the work of our volunteers. And so it's made such a big difference to my life in such a short period of time. And I really love the work, and I love the work environment. The office isn't very big. There's like a handful of us in the office. Everyone's really lovely. They get on really well and they all really care, which is, it's a really unusual experience to work with a bunch of people who actively go out of their way to make sure others are looked after. And I'm sure you're probably listening to this and going, I'm a nurse, I'm a teacher. That's exactly the same thing that you would experience, or you're an aged care worker, or you work in early childhood, or you're a doctor, or, you know, or you're a solicitor or a cleaner, or you know, everyone's job should have that element of community in it, and everyone's life should have that element of community in it, and that corporate care for each other. And so for me, in my experience, this is one of the very rare times when I can go, you know, 95% of the people that work in that place, and I only say that there's 5% that mightn't because I don't know everybody in the kitchen, is geared to making other people's lives easier. And that's a really special thing. And, you know, I'm very fortunate, and I give praise and thanks to the Lord for putting me in this position where I am able to work a job that gives me so much satisfaction and helps, and really came at a time when I was stressed about how things would go, and I was worried about how I would juggle the business and keep it alive and keep doing things. And it hasn't been perfect. The podcast has definitely suffered because of it. And so that's been frustrating and difficult, but it's nice to be back. And the other thing is, on top of all of that, our kid finished primary school and has had 2 months holidays and has been home the entire time, which is beautiful. I love his face. I love seeing him. I love spending time with him. And I've really enjoyed getting to know him again in this phase of his life. And the excitement of him coming to pick me up from work, like he likes coming in and going, oh, my mum works here. And because he's only ever known me as someone who works in the home. And so, there was a brief period when he was little when I still had my public service job, and I've got photos of him coming into work and sitting at my desk, but he can't remember that. And so this is really exciting for him. And it's been great to show him the power of donating your time to help others. And so that's been really good. And I look forward to more school holidays, God willing, where he can come in and help go out and deliver meals and things like that, or work in the kitchen. So he finished primary school and he starts this year in high school, which just blows my mind away, because when I was in that grade, that was still considered part of primary school. And to me, he's still a little kid, and now he's going off to high school. So he's in for some big changes this year. We're in for some big changes this year as he grows up and starts getting different aspects of the world thrown at him. And so getting ready for that and making space for that transition in our family has been interesting, and he's excited to get started, and I'm excited to see this next chapter for him. But it just reminds me again of how quickly time passes and how very blessed we are to be able to spend this time together with him and to have his grandparents here with him and his great aunt. And so yeah, it's just taking that time to spend it with him before he runs off into the big world. So that's a really big transition for us. And then, we've had the general thing that all families go through, where everyone's trying to find their footing and their place. And our house is on a larger block of land, and it has a jungle section to it that runs onto the riverbank. And so my dad has been graciously helping us get that on. And I say helping us, we've done nothing. He's done it all. And he's been working on that over the last few weeks. And, we're making space for a new chicken run and getting more chickens. Because I don't know whether you guys are aware, but in Australia, we're having an egg shortage. We had the avian flu went through and wiped out the egg production capacity in Australia, and so there's an egg shortage. So suddenly I'm the favourite because I've got spare eggs, which I love giving away. So we've got more chickens, and we're going to make a better space for them. What else have we been doing? That's about it, really. Oh, no, that's about it. I was going to say, we haven't even travelled at Christmas time. We've gone nowhere. We've done nothing. And it's been amazing. We had a really quiet Christmas, which was lovely. And we had a great Boxing Day. So for those of you that don't know, we call the day after Christmas Day Boxing Day. It's a British tradition. I have no idea where it comes from. I'm sure I could Google it, but I don't want to know that badly. And so we had what we called our leftovers lunch. And so all of our friends came and brought their leftovers from the day before, and we provided our leftovers from the day before. And we just had this hodgepodge of lunch, and it was amazing. Like, just probably one of the best meals I've had in a while. Just a variety of salads and fresh meat and stuff. And again, another reminder of how fortunate we are. And so, yeah, it's been a really lovely time, but it's not left much space for things like podcasting and sewing. I've not done very much sewing at all. I've been plugging away, impatiently waiting for Lizzie House's new collection to arrive because I am working on another Lizzie quilt, and I haven't touched Lizzie House fabric in a number of years. I've had it there lovingly curated and put into its storage container and safe and sound in the move. And it's been an absolute joy to jump back into working with Lizzie's fabrics. And her new collection is due here any moment. It's actually in transit now, so I am stalking the postman. Every time I get home from work, I'm like, is it here? And so that's been really exciting. And I think I'm really excited about 99 Problems, which is coming up for 100 days this year, that kicks off on the 1st of July. And you can find out all the information on the website. But essentially, I ask you to sew one patchwork block a day for 100 days in a goal of setting up that repetition and making time in your life for creating and for doing something that you love. And you'll find that disciplined process of sewing regularly does wonders for your accuracy and for helping you to control your sojo. A lot of people are like, I lose my sojo and I don't want to sew, which I completely understand, and it happens to me too. But that act of actually making yourself sew does a lot to help you get that sojo back and keep it regular. Now that sounds like an ad for fiber, doesn't it? Yeah, helps keep you regular. So 100 days kicks off the 1st of July. We're using a pattern that I have solely developed by myself called 99 Problems. It has to be one of my favorite quilts that I've designed to date. It is a mixture of machine piecing and foundation paper piecing. And I say that because in the blocks, it's varying sizes of blocks from 6 inches, 12 inches to 24 inches. And some of the measurements for cutting are funky, like they're 15/16 or 7/8 or, I don't have the eyesight for that. And so I've worked out a way in conjunction with Christy from Quiet Play, who has very graciously helped me with her time and effort and drawing up the templates for us, a way to foundation paper piece certain segments of blocks, or you could do the whole block if you wanted, but certain segments of blocks so that you don't have to mess with the funky cutting. And it makes it easier to fussy cut those funky shapes. There's no Y seams in it. There's no partial seams in it. It's just that there was funky cutting. And so we will provide cutting measurements for most of the blocks. It's just those funky bits that I'm like, there's an easier way to do this where your accuracy is better. One thing that I have found in the last few months is I have become a bigger fan of foundation paper piecing, much to Christy's joy and mirth and ridicule. No, is that I have become a fan of foundation paper piecing to the point where one day I woke up and I went to her, you have to teach me how to design them. I have this idea for a block and foundation paper piecing can do it. And she was like, I have one. You've come to the dark side. So, I'm really excited about getting this out there. There will be some support tutorials to help you through and a community, and you can sign up via the website. The pattern is available for pre-purchase, pre-order, and it's a locked-in price for the pre-purchase, and it will go up once it's released. So all of that information is there. That's been ticking over in the background, and I have been squeezing it in where I can, and it's bringing me joy to just be back in the studio without the pressure that I have put on myself in the previous years to really make the business provide, and having that external wage avenue has taken that off, and it's been great. I do still think that there will be a time where the side hustle moves back into the primary hustle, but for now I'm really just enjoying this new chapter, and I wanted to take the time to talk with you about it and to let you know what was happening and share a little bit about what's happening on this side of things. And I hope that insight goes a little way to explain some of the madness and the lack of social media posting and things like that that's been happening on this side. I have a big year of podcasts planned, and I have the good fortune of calling a lot of amazing people in this industry, friends and colleagues, and I look forward to sharing more of that with you. It's such an amazing life that we've been given, and there is so much opportunity and so much joy. Even in the darkest hours, there are so many things that you can give thanks for and find joy for in this life. And I thank you for allowing me to invade your mental space for a little bit. And I thank you for all of your support and coming on this journey with me, and for sharing your love of fabric with me. And I cannot wait to see what 2025 brings for you. And I hope that you will share a little bit of it with me. And so on that note, welcome to a new season of the Fussy Cutters Club podcast. I'm your host, Ange Wilson. You can find me at GnomeAngel, as in garden ornament gnome, angel as in thing on top of the tree, all one word, .com. And I will be back shortly.
Thanks for listening to the Fussy Cutters podcast. Enjoyed listening? Why not subscribe so you'll never miss an episode? Did you know the quickest way to the heart of any podcaster is to leave a review or recommend the podcast to a friend? It's true, it is. Until next week, get out there and fondle that fabric.